Welcome to Contrasting China's Past. I'm your host, Chloe Nixon. Let's get started. Okay, Mao, let's start with you and your peasant Zhang Fat. Mao, what was your goal with the Great Leap Forward?
My goal was to get the Chinese people to achieve what they were capable of achieving, a bigger economy targeting agriculture and industry.
Were your goals met?
In a way, yes, work was increased and done in incredible speeds. The way this was achieved was families were put into communes to help the community assist other communities.
How good was the work that was produced? How were the working conditions? Could you tell us this, Mao? Also, what do you mean by in a way?
The work produced wasn't top notch, well, rather it was very poor, and unfortunately led to thousands of injuries and deaths. The conditions were also very poor. This is what was meant.
And now for saying, is what Mao is saying holding some truth?
Yes, conditions were very poor, work was terrible, and sometimes even impossible. The conditions even led to half of my family becoming deceased. We had to give everything up for this. Mao even lied to us about how much food was being produced. Most of the people went hungry. Some of the machinery was faulty and manufactured by the people themselves and broke after one use. It even injured them.
What came next, Zane?
The Cultural Revolution. What a terrible time to be alive.
Mao, anything to say before we ask Zane?
Yes, this revolution was meant to help, not hurt. It was made to show communism was the way to rule.
Okay, Zane, what happened during the revolution?
Oh, terrible things happened here. Miss Nixon, terrible things. Millions of lives were ruined, bloodshed broke out, and lots of hungry people. Schools, churches, libraries, and even private land were destroyed. Backlash from the community broke out, and then what came next was party officials, teachers, towns, people, and even children were beaten, murdered, or committed suicide after vicious struggle sessions. Roughly 2,000 people died in just the first year of the revolution. Mao sent to the remaining children, millions of them, down to the countryside for re-education. He next sent the army to retake control of the country because of wide backlash from the commodity. The death toll rose drastically from this. Cannibalism broke out, which led to more deaths from angry hunger. Mao died September 19th, 1976, which ended this terrible revolution. The effects of this so-called revolution were mass chaos and bloodshed.
You had a lot to say, Zane. I would understand why. I'm very sorry what you and your family had to go through, Mao and Fat. That brings an end to this segment. Thank you for coming. Okay, Den, would you like to start us off?
Sure, my goal was to help the Chinese people recover from Mao's rule. I still believed in communism and started the one-child policy to bring down the population. I deeply believed that the gifted children needed to be noticed and given advanced schooling. I rebuilt China and even opened law schools. I put the Gang of Four on trial and sentenced them all to death, though none of them ever were executed but died in prison. By 1976, literacy was at an astounding 69% for China.
That will lead us to Zane. What took place right after that?
The T-Square incident. This was a serious protest that took place from 6:30 to 6:04. The protest was attempted to be shut down by the government, which sent tanks and heavy armored troops toward the crowd. Most of all the people in the crowd were college students. I happened to be one of them who survived. The tanks crushed anyone who stood in front of them, and the troops shot anyone in their way. This lasted 12 hours. The murder was gruesome, and they showed no mercy. Many people died. My best friend died from being crushed by one of the tanks.
Thanks, guys. That's all the time we have today. That has been Contrasting China's Past.
Disclaimer, this pouch can only be 5 minutes or I have to pay money. Bye, have a nice day.